Forbes Books presents The Great Digital Transformation with Gerard Zatvani, highlighting the pioneers that reimagined possibilities and reimagined businesses. Hola, it's Joe Pardavila, and Gerry and I are back with Rodrigo Cortés Pinto, the CIO of La Polar, where he's been overseeing the digital transformation of one of Chile's largest retail chains. And we pick up the discussion with Rodrigo talking about the importance of building an omnichannel experience for La Polar's customers.
Well, we have been working on that area. Obviously, omnichannel is not an option. It is a must for all the retailers. And for us, the key point is trying to make the right pick up in terms of where to put the efforts. We have a limited capacity in order to execute or make changes inside our company. So we are very, very cautious in terms of selecting the right processes or journeys for the customers that we are trying to improve and obviously provide the best customer experience. Omnichannel for us is, as I told you, it is mandatory, and maybe in the pandemic was maybe one of the key elements that for the retailers who were well prepared save the business. Most of the retailers starting working as a dark stores, making ship from a store, using the omnichannel capabilities during pandemic when the stores were closed, but the e-commerce process were still open. So omnichannel, I think, in my personal opinion, was one of the key elements that helped the commerce alive in terms of the execution.
And Gerry, talk to me about helping companies with that omnichannel approach and how it is a must, as Rodrigo said.
I mean, nowadays it's very common for people to scroll on their phone and look at the products that they want to buy, share socially with your friends, and then you want to check something out online, but maybe you're not convinced and you want to try it out. We had just the lunch earlier, and we discussed how, none of us would buy something totally new online directly. Just we needed to go to the store and actually touch and feel and try it out. But you already researched it online somewhere. You looked at the store that has it in the inventory. You checked out the price. You checked out the discounts and whatever. And because of all of these things, you actually went to a specific store and you tried out something right there. And maybe you bought it in the store, maybe didn't buy it in the store, but maybe when you went home, you bought it at home. And this is a complete journey that goes from online to in store to it's like this entire what we call omni-channel that now has transformed in this kind of a customer 360, where you can really look at your customer journey from all the perspectives. And we are trying not to silo this brick and mortar from e-commerce, but make it one thing. That's really the entire transformative omni-channel experience.
And Rodrigo, obviously, you're the best CIO in South America, from what I understand. That's what everyone says. So I'm sure a lot of people come to you for advice. What are some of the first steps you would advise someone who's in your shoes with another company in terms of those initial steps towards digital transformation?
I think the first thing is about understanding your business, not to be in love about technology. It's about to understand what is needed, why we are in the path of making changes, be bold in terms of challenge the business units, asking, proposing, and not be in the back office part, receiving just the already defined requirements as the traditional IT. You must be part of the C-level of the table that are taking the decision, the definitions.
Well, Rodrigo, what do you say to the person who says, I can't get out of the back room? They keep me back there, but I have all these ideas. What's a good way for that CEO to become that next visionary CIO that can impact the company, not just in the back room, but outward towards their customers and the rest of the business?
You need to, first of all, try to find the way to build trust inside in your company, how you and your team will be able to deliver value about what the needs of your business are right now. Obviously, for us in our country, we are usually looking at what is happening in Europe, in the USA, which are the trends. And obviously you need to understand what is happening, but obviously trying to apply what is needed to your local market. We were discussing with Gerry a few hours ago about, for instance, about omnichannel. Here in the States, the curbside pickup was a boom during pandemic. Mm-hmm. In my country, nothing at all. No, there's no feature or a business process that was so expected by the customers. So you need to be understanding what is happening and how to apply to your local needs. And usually it is maybe sometimes a lonely road in terms of trying to get the understanding, the trust from the C-level executives in order to be your or their allied partner for the technology execution.
This building the partnership part is not the obvious thing. It's probably the most difficult thing to do, and some people do it better than others. Being able to be a trusted partner in the room when the business goes through a very powerful transformation.
And a word that's been used a lot lately, especially during the pandemic, is culture. And because of everyone being broken off and siloed off, like how you create that culture. So I'm curious, Rodrigo, what culture is kind of needed to drive digital transformation? It sounds like you had the culture in place, or you wouldn't be sitting here in Chicago with Gerry having deep dish pizza and drinking a beer. You'd be somewhere else. So why do you think you had the culture that was ready to handle this digital transformation?
The culture, I think it is obviously is the key. It's about how you build trust with your team, how you transform into a change agent into your company, how you are the one who brings not only new solutions, it's about the topics that the business must be covered, how you can understand the business need. And obviously in that part, we come back again about the team. The team must be 100% involved in this journey, the storytelling about what we are building, which is the purpose that we are here 5 years in advance. If we look backwards, how proud we will feel about the things that we are building now. I think this is the part of the equation that we are trying to develop this kind of situation in order to make the culture a big part of our strategy. Obviously, failure is part of the equation. You must be open to fail. If you fail, try to fail fast. Try not to punish. Obviously, we are not to fail. We are to be successful. But along the process, we need to be able to deliver.
And Gerry, obviously, culture is a big part of it. But what are some other challenges that people might face when it comes to implementing digital transformation in a business?
It's maybe sometimes being a little bit too ambitious. That you also have this trap is when you are overdoing it and you don't really align with the business and the customer expectations. I've seen this happening here and there.
Usually, one of my discussions with the business side is don't follow the shiny object because usually they are very open to get different kind of topics that are very hot in the market. And next Monday, okay, I need this. So every week we are trying to no. We are we have our own roadmap, and this is the funny part of the technology changes and everything about the transformation.
Well, Gerry, I want to dig into this a little bit. Talk to me about these companies, for example, you don't have to name names, that are too ambitious. What's an example of being too ambitious? Rodrigo talked about, following the shiny object, but what's an example of being too ambitious when it comes to digital transformation?
Well, I'll give you a very good example, and us. 7 years ago, we used Oculus to develop a virtual reality e-commerce. So you would able to like go into a museum, pick some paintings, and you would be able to order it. That was way too ambitious, way ahead of the times. And when a headset would cost like $2,000, nobody would buy it. It was too early, way too early. So there is that as well. How do you not overdo it, and sometimes it's just too much. It's happening because you hear a lot of the buzzwords. You hear a lot of the buzzwords, and sometimes the market is just not ready. It's just not there. The context is not there. The business is not there, because for some technologies you need people to operate it. You need the organization to embrace it, and sometimes the timing is not right. So you have to wait it out a little bit. So then being too ambitious, it can be an issue sometimes.
But it's tough in your world, though, Gerry, where you're in an industry that embraces early adopters. Tech people are always the first to, NFT, cryptocurrency, VR. Talk to me about that dance of trying to be an early adopter, but not being too early an adopter.
Yeah. Well, look, I mean, early adopter, it's a buzzword, I guess, because, like, Facebook wasn't the first social network, iPhone wasn't the first smartphone, and Tesla wasn't the first electric vehicle. So what is an early adopter? Like at some point these technologies become mature, and the context is there so that they can really be used at scale. So that's I think especially from a business point of view, it's good to be an early adopter when there is a business case, when there is a number of customers that would really use it, you have to test it out, that's pertinent, that can be a thing. It's sometimes projects are born by somebody that thinks that's it, and without testing it out a little bit, without talking to people around you, without looking into behavior. 10 years ago, people would not use mobile phones to place an order. And if you would develop a mobile phone app to place an order 10 years ago, you would have probably 1 or 2 customers doing it. So there is no ROI in that. You have to wait the timing, you have to wait the moment when that's right.
And Rodrigo, let's talk about the dirty 4-letter word, data. How does data play into what you do and your team over at La Polar?
Is the key element. Obviously, along the technology changes that we have been implementing along the years, in the past 4 years, the amount of data that we are collecting, I think is maybe sometimes overwhelming in terms of the amount, and the challenge obviously is how to handle it, how to be cautious in terms of privacy and all the legal stuff about the data. Remember, we were talking about silos. Our retail business and our financial services, we can cross and get a lot of insights about how the customer is behaving in terms of from the products that they are buying and from the kind of financial service behavior they have. Obviously, for us, is one of the key elements. And maybe the next and the most of our future efforts would be in terms of trying to build and grow about managing data in the best way possible.
And Gerry, in terms of data, Rodrigo was just talking about the fact that sometimes we just have way too much data. It's paralysis by analysis. How do you advise people when it comes to just dealing with so much data that's readily available?
You have to look at it from a business point of view, like what's important for your company. For a retailer, for example, what's important is to make better margins. Like you are selling a lot of stuff, the nice to have would be not to discount it too much. That also means that you need to understand what your customers are asking for. How are they buying? How are they interacting with you? So that when you go back, when you turn around and go to your procurement and you work with your supply chain, then you can order the right things. Like if people are interested in buying black pants, you shouldn't sell white t-shirts. You should sell them black pants. And if you are able to make this connection between what your customers ask and what you can provide them and how you can provide them, because it's also about how they buy online or they buy in store, and you really have to find the right match between these customer preferences and what you are providing to them. And that's where data comes in. Data will help you to make that match and searching for these patterns, and that will enable you to have better margins overall in your business. And obviously it's gonna make your customers happier because they are finding what they are searching for.
And nowadays data it is critical. All the changes that we are facing about inflation for most of the countries, having a double digit of inflation is a not known way to do in business. So inflation, the price transparency is more important for the customer. The store operations are changing because the wages are increasing. So you need to be ready to automate more processes at the store level. So all those changes are driven by data, or you can face in a better way using the data in a proper way.
And Rodrigo, let's talk about the future. What are the long-lasting effects of the digital transformation your team has taken on over the last few years mean for the future of La Polar?
I think for the future, we think right now we establish from technology point of view a solid basis for growth. Our operation, I think we are in a very, very position in terms of support, stability, and even the increased amount of e-commerce traffic or all those stuff. We have been working heavily in establishing those strong pillars for the execution. But for the future, for me, it's about the connected experience between the technology that we are implementing, we have already implemented. The challenge is how we are able to manage and define the best journey for the customer along the different technology pieces that we already have in place. The most meaningful for the customer and the most profitable for our company. This is the kind of challenges that we are facing right now. We are inviting our partners as OSF to be part of that process, not as a vendor, as a partner, understanding our needs and building together the future. That's, for me, is the key.
So Gerry, I guess you're going to start working on the VR shopping experience for La Polar now that you're all...
Well, interestingly enough, we were discussing earlier about how we can use augmented reality, not VR, but augmented reality for furniture shopping and how it can help the customer journey. But no, I was not mentioning the virtual reality goggles for them. No.
Well, that's awesome. Rodrigo, thank you very much for the time. We really appreciate you joining us on the podcast. Any final words in terms of folks, when it comes to La Polar, if you're going to Chile, easy to find? Are they everywhere? Tell me a little more about La Polar as we wrap things up.
Yeah, we have in our capital city, Santiago, there's at least 10 stores, mainly in downtown on southern area of the city, and the rest of the regions on each of the main cities of the regions. We are competing very, very heavily with our competitors. So we have a strong presence, physical strong presence in our country.
All right, well, thank you guys.
Thank you, Joe.
Thanks, Joe.
This has been The Great Digital Transformation with Gerard Zatvani. To participate in the conversation, go to gerardzatvani.com. The Great Digital Transformation is a production of Forbes Books.